Okay, so today I wanted to talk about and start off kind of the series of mini vlogs to help me explain what we're doing in the door-to-door transportation industry and how we're utilizing the foundational principles of our business of conscious capitalism, which has four pillars: higher purpose, stakeholder orientation, conscious culture, and conscious leadership. I'll put a graphic up. You can go to the consciouscapitalism.org website. There's this global movement going on. I believe it's still relatively young, and it's not the mainstream, and that's for sure. It's a growing movement in each city. I think probably 10% of the people that you talk to are in line with what you're saying and support the environment, the movement of sustainability, and principles behind conscious capitalism. But not many people know its literature, know how it's being used in business, and how it drastically could affect society. So sorry, let's keep going on. How if we, the business leaders of today that are starting new organizations and new business, and the leaders that are trying to be conscious leaders in this world. I'm a student, I'm an activator, and I'm trying to mentor, but I don't want to say that I know exactly everything. I've just been practicing it within my capabilities, within my industry, within my company, within my team, my community, and within my life. It's truly affected my way of living and the way I think about things, and trying to hold true to my integrity and have values about it affects me, and being aligned with a purpose and being a person of integrity holds you accountable for yourself. Conscious capitalism is the overall general movement that I'm a part of in the business world. It's conscious capitalism, and I consider myself a conscious leader. And in my eco-rights or the organizations that I run, I try to build conscious cultures. And then when we have foundation and vision of the company, the direction of the company is always based on defining a higher purpose. Defining a higher purpose that's greater than yourself, than your individual selves. That's a higher purpose that is a global problem per se, a society problem, something that you can fix that affects the masses or contributes to that. So my higher purpose for EcoRines is in our mission, zero emissions, and it's a movement. So we believe that only through the people, the conscious community, can this be done quickly, because there's no one else that's going to drive it quickly. It's the people that actually believe in sustainability, that believe in that we can save the planet, and that are in different industries that can affect different things. Building materials, the housing market especially, there's going to be a whole rebuild, of all the current infrastructure that's holding our housing, commercial properties. Is one of the biggest problems as far as CO2 savings that we can correct over a certain amount of time. So my parents, they moved from the Philippines and how it was hard in the Philippines, or they wanted to move to Canada for a better life and opportunity. My mom ended up working for the University of Guelph as a laboratory technician, and my dad, he was at a oil factory in the Flamborough area, and we used to go to his work with him, so I got a good idea of what the oil factories, how they were run back in the day. I was working already in my career job, about midway through, and my dad, he got diagnosed with tongue cancer. He was 61, but from the time where we heard that he had it, I truly believed that he would recover from it. It's in his tongue, they've got treatment, and they can treat it right away, and it'll be gone. And I remember a conversation that he had with me. He said, what if I don't do anything? I just let nature take its course. And I wish I would have told him, yeah, we should do that. And a totally holistic diet with exercise. You know, I say this from the heart. You know, I wish I would have told him just to go the natural way, because taking the chemotherapy, and this is not to blame anybody or anything, but the fact is, taking the chemotherapy and going through the process of that, in combination with the complications he had with his sickness already, like cancer, he already had a tumor inside him, but he also had operations, and he also had radiation recently done, and there's just so many conditions, right? So he didn't die from the cancer or the tumor or the effects of the cancer, right? We intervened with chemicals, the chemotherapy that were killing his cells. It wasn't in the operation that was performed on his tongue. It was just not, it wasn't able, when he had the operation on his tongue and his neck, he wasn't able to eat properly, so he lost all his weight. And he was probably, you know, he started about probably around 180, but he went down to like 120 or 140, right? So he was really skinny for what I know my dad to be. And then when he took chemo, he lost all his hair, and it defeated him. He couldn't do anything, right? On the cycles of chemo, he had no energy. I couldn't eat properly, so he was only taking fluids. He was taking a lot of Ensure, just a liquid diet. So he was on his second month of his chemotherapy session, just starting it. I think 1 or 2 doses in, and then it was in the morning. My mom says, Jason, come here." She was panicking. I come running to the room, and my mom is holding my dad, leaning over, and holding my dad up, saying, "Dad," he's trying to shake him, and then my dad's kind of like trying to keep himself up and awake and blinking and trying to move his eyes and breathe. And then he was just relaxing, and then my mom had to call 911. I was stayed by my dad's side, and while my mom was calling 911 and was just trying to be there while he was relaxing. And then, you know, he almost fainted twice while in that, 10 minutes that we were there. We moved him from one side of the bed to the other side, to the bottom foot. But they walked him out of our house for the last time. I think it was a matter of him getting to the hospital within a 2 or 3 week time frame. Once again, it was so blurry. He was there, stabilized for about a week. Back and forth after complications. Yeah, he was pumped with a lot of medications, and he started to become swollen. So my skinny dad was becoming swollen, and he was unconscious. And I had to have a conversation with him consciously for about 2 days whenever I'd come visit from work. I was working at GlaxoSmithKline. I would come and visit my dad after work, and then I started to take days off because I wanted to be there more often. But in the week for like a hospital, and it was nighttime, and we still had some guests. We were trying to visit him as much as possible, so whenever they would allow us to see him, he was in ICU at the moment. He was taken out of a regular care room into ICU because they were having trouble keeping him balanced, like his blood pressure, his heart rate and stuff. So he was under critical unit and intensive care unit. And while we were in the waiting room, there was a nurse that came in and said, "If you want to see her." First, there was an announcement that we heard, like a crash. And then nurses came into the waiting room and asked us to go and if we wanted to say our goodbyes to my dad, because it doesn't look, they've done all they can do. So we walked into the room, and we can see my dad just listening to the beat. And we surrounded him. His body was still warm, but he was still no reaction to anything. And then he flatlined. We heard the beep, a long beep. We were saying I love you, holding him tight. My whole family surrounded him. My mom, my 3 brothers. We loved our dad. And 3 seconds after, you could feel and see his color change. He takes his last breath, and he stopped breathing, and he stopped moving, and he got cold, and my dad was gone. I didn't know I didn't know where I was. It was a dream. I couldn't get it. Like, where did you go? Why aren't you here? I thought you were gonna make it. I thought you were gonna make it, Dad. I wish you'd have taken that natural pathway. I wish I would have told you differently. When I lost my dad, I went through a little depression. I didn't want to talk to anybody. Just felt like sleeping. I lost my motivation. It was the hardest thing that I believe people have to go through, was to lose a loved one. And the first realization that time is precious. Our time here is limited. The amount of time with our loved ones are limited. These small experiences, like giving my daughter, for example. I know there's only limited times that I can hug her within my life, within 100% of my life. There's only opportunity to hug her and say I love you in that hug where there's focus. Only hours, you know. 6 years of her life passed. And it's not enough. You know, the love that people had developed for their children and their family, that's what drives purpose. I want more time with her. Freedom to be with her, or there for her when they need you, when your loved ones need you. There's a way to get there, and I drew a plan. But purpose, Dad was 61 when he died. I was 27. I told the story about my dad's passing in my last video, and I didn't get to finish what I wanted to say. It was about time, or I wasn't spending enough time myself on what was important in life at the time that my father passed away. So if he died when he was 61, and I'm 27 at the time of his passing. I'm 40 now, right? So the experience I had, all the times that I can remember, all the things that I did with him, right? That I loved doing with him. Even just going to the casino with him, hanging out as friends, you know, being on the same. I didn't think about that in a long time. We just go to the casino, something simple like that. Just Friday night, Saturday night. And just hanging out with my dad, just me, him, so my brothers, my mom. We would do it like as a family. It was just fun. And then we just like have these bonding moments together. Some exciting nights, some fun nights. I can remember like just going on these. He had this such good luck about him. Like it was his positive energy, and I know it would. I swear that was what would make him win at the tables. Like he was drawing good hands, and he was so lucky. And he would win all these big cards in front of me, like, and I'd just be excited with him. So it was a very strong bond. I can feel the vibration and the energy right now. It's crazy. But the time that you get to spend with your loved ones, it's truly not enough, right? Like you're gonna regret it, if you don't focus on your family now and the things that matter to you, you're not living your life. You do things for work, do things to make a living and make money and make sure you're that's the whole purpose fundamentally is, okay, we gotta feed our family. But after that, why do you acquire so much? Or if you're acquiring so much, I know that people are doing good with it, and that's very good. As long as you're acquiring wealth to do good, that's a good thing. You're providing for your family and you're doing good, positive things in the world. But the opposite to that is what's happening is the greed. So I'll step away from that. But the main purpose of why I chose to kind of go all in with is because my dad passed away, right? It made me sit down and think about what life was about. It made me question life, like, why are we here? What's the purpose? I started looking from a bird's eye, looking down on the human species. What did God put us here for? Why am I here? So it just years of just learning, reading, and talking to people. You start to understand kind of a deeper meaning to life, right? So I know I hit that at a younger age than most people, and it was because I lost my dad at the age of 27. And I was at the time where I was at the busiest time of my career. I was putting extra hours in because I wanted to always do my work, right? Get things done, and I wanted to overachieve kind of in whatever I was doing. And when my dad died, I missed all the time that I didn't have to spend those extra hours I could have been with him, just. So now I have a daughter, like I mentioned, Kiana, and I have a deeper meaning and understanding of life and how we raised her from the get-go, and how I wanted to spend time with her is the utmost importance, right? So I kind of shaped my path around that, the purpose of my life, right? Love drives purpose, and if I want to spend enough time with her, I have to be able to work my way out of things that I was doing as an employee. I was working 10-hour days, even more, some part like 12-hour days, and then businesses on top, because I knew that there was something that I could do, that I could add more value to the world.